So to start with, this was the belt that I had on it for quite a while, and I think that it is a Toyota OEM belt. I could be wrong. I don't see any marks on it to tell me, but what you will notice is there's a difference in the pattern of the belt. So you can see more kind of like fabric, I would say, cloth on the outer part than on the inner part. And this belt really isn't even in that bad a shape. I mean, like, it doesn't have any cracks or anything like that. And so I had this belt on for a long time. And as a tip, whenever you upgrade your new belt, always keep your old one in the truck somewhere, so that when you get stuck in the middle of Death Valley somewhere, you've got a freaking spare belt you can put on, even if it's a squealing bastard, to get you back to the parts store, right? So, going all the way back to a trip I was up in Alaska, I'll share a link to the video right over here. I was way back in the backcountry, and I drove through some puddles, and so it took a bunch of muddy water up here into the engine bay, and from that point on I had to deal with this continued squeal, and it was like, I thought that maybe a little pebble or something had gotten stuck in one of the pulleys, so I pulled over and messed around with it. At that point, having had recently done the timing belt, where you got to pull the entire front end of the engine off here, I had a spare idler pulley for the top of the serpentine belt there in the truck. So I got down to Talkeetna, Alaska, it was about 50 miles down from where the squeal started happening, and I'm pulling everything apart, and I was pretty damn sure that bearing in that idler pulley went bad. So I swapped them out. Didn't change it, didn't fix it. And this was like early spring, so cold temperatures, and this has been about 4 or 5 years now, so it's kind of hard to remember exactly what happened, but I ended up taking that truck down. I used to keep it parked at the Anchorage International Airport parking area while I worked on the slope of Alaska, and then I would fly home back here to Utah. So it spent quite a while in freezing temperatures up there, where it would only get run for one day every couple weeks, usually, the truck. So midwinter rolls around, and I've got this squeal going on in the belt. It had kind of gone away a little bit, but I was like, well, I better just pull over and get a new belt. We were on our way down to Seward, Alaska, to take a little journey down there. And I was like, I better just get a new belt. That way, if this thing shits the bed on me, I've got one on hand. I wasn't planning to change it out because it was freezing temperatures, and you got to deal with the wrenches and all that shit in there. So I grabbed the belt, kept it in the truck for a long time, and we just did that day trip, and it was squealing a little bit, not too bad. Okay. Take it back up there, and take it back up, park it at the airport. Spring rolls around, and things have warmed up. So the squeal went away, and I never ended up changing that belt. I kept it on hand in the truck. It was a Gates belt. They generally make pretty good quality, and it's that belt right there. And we did the whole trip all the way home from Alaska through Canada, and I don't know, another year goes by, and it wouldn't squeal when it was warm out. So then, last winter, I think it was, I finally put this belt on, because the temperatures dropped down and this belt started squealing again. I was like, what the hell? So I'm just gonna change the belt out. Change the belt out, it drives fine. It's freaking sweet. Next thing I know, I start getting this squeal from the power steering pump. And one of the bearings in the power steering pump was shit in the bed. And I couldn't figure out if it was the belt or the pulleys or whatever. So I ended up changing out the power steering pump, which is about $500. But that was after I was certain, 100% certain, I'd done all sorts of isolating and figuring out for sure that it was that, and it definitely was. So the belt squeal was gone, but there was a bearing squeal in there. So I'm driving on this belt, and I end up swapping out that power steering pump. And belt, or the squeal goes away. No more squeals. So I was like, sweet, awesome, fixed it. Another month or two goes by, and all of a sudden I start getting a different freaking squeal. So I was like, oh my God, what is it this time? So at this point I'm thinking, you know, how many bearings and pulleys do I really have to change before the entire system is freaking brand new, right? And so I ordered up the tensioner pulley, ordered a new tensioner pulley from Rock Auto. Buy a lot of parts from Rock Auto if they're general parts, you know. I buy a lot of OEM stuff as well, but so I buy this freaking pulley, and sure enough, they sent it to me, and the damn pulley is the wrong size, and but the bearing was new inside it. So I was like, what the hell am I gonna do? So I pressed the bearing out of that pulley, put that bearing into that pulley, put it back in, and noise goes away. I'm like, sweet, cool. Just was a new bearing that I needed to put in the freaking tensioner pulley. So at this point, I've got a fairly new idler pulley, new tensioner pulley, a new power steering pump. And so all of these different squeals have fixed themselves and gone away. Well, here we were as winter rolled in here, and I was back on, no, let me think. At some point along the way, I swapped this belt back on there, and I kept this belt as a spare. And so as the temperatures dropped down, I was like, God dang it, that freaking belt noise is back again. Let me pull this belt off and put that one on and see if it does the trick. And sure enough, it did the trick for a week or two, until it just recently just started getting so freaking bad again. And so at this point, it's like, I'm gonna get a new Toyota belt, because I think they're just, I don't know, somehow they're just different. The material is different, and that shiny surface on the backside of that belt seems to cause the squeal. I don't know. So anyway, that's the long story. This freaking belt squeal. Hopefully the powder dried things out, and it'll last a while, and now I can return this $7 jar of belt dressing, because I don't need that shit. So anyway, there you go. There's a story. Hey, if you have had different success with other ways to fix your belts and squeals, or you've tried this and it worked and then didn't work, or whatever, just leave some comments down below and let me know what you think. Yeah, so have a good day. See you on the next one.